Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today here in Chesterfield County. I'm Susan Pollard, Director of Communications, and I want everyone to know that we are streaming this on Facebook Live, and we will also be putting it out on our YouTube channel later. Today we are going to hear from 3 speakers, and they are going to basically give a rundown of what has occurred this weekend and where we are at this point in time with the status of the situation. Additionally, we will open it up to questions at the end of our 3rd speaker. So now I'm going to introduce Leslie Haley, who is the chair of the Chesterfield County Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you all for joining us. This weekend, the storms dropped about 9.8 inches of rain on Chesterfield County, leaving us, our residents, and our businesses to contend with this dangerous flooding and the water-related damages. On Saturday, our county administrator, Joe Casey, issued a local emergency declaration activating Chesterfield's 24-hour emergency operations center and deploying our county personnel and resources to monitor the safety of our residents and the integrity of our infrastructure. And I want to thank all of our county employees who worked around the clock this weekend to keep us ahead of the dangers that were created by this rainfall. This work included evacuating over 150 residents in several neighborhoods near the Falling Creek Dam on Saturday evening, but I am pleased to report that those residents were able to return to their homes safely on Sunday. However, the dangers posed by this rainfall have not yet passed. We're asking our residences and our businesses to only travel when necessary, as many roads and intersections still remain inaccessible due to the flooding. And if you need to travel, please plan ahead and visit www.511virginia.org for detailed road conditions. Shortly, you'll hear from George Hayes, who's going to discuss the emergency restrictions we've placed on all our water customers due to a temporary shutdown of a county water treatment plant and repairs that are needed at the City of Richmond's Jank Road pump station. And then our Fire and EMS Chief, Lois Center, will discuss the actions that are being taken by our public safety officers to ensure that the areas that are affected by flooding can still be serviced in the event of an emergency. But before I introduce Director Hayes, I'd like to ask our residents, our businesses, and our visitors to always remain prepared for weather-related emergencies, and especially now in the face of the hurricane season. And it seems like 2020 just keeps on giving, folks. The best thing you can do to stay informed during these emergencies is to sign up for our Chesterfield Alert at www.chesterfieldalert.com. This system will allow you to receive time-sensitive messages during a variety of situations, including evacuations, severe weather, and unexpected road closures. And for more up-to-date storm information, you can also visit our dedicated storm information at www.chesterfield.gov/storminfo. Following the county's Facebook and Twitter pages also will keep you up to date on the latest details and announcements. With that, I'm going to thank you all for joining us, and I would now like to introduce our Utilities Director, George Hayes.
Thank you, Mrs. Haley, and thank you all for being here to get the word out to our customers. I'm George Hayes. I'm the Director of Utilities. Today I'll be discussing the emergency water restrictions that we put in place. I'd also provide a very brief background on our water systems, also talk about the events that led us to issue emergency water restrictions, and then also talk a little bit about the preparation we're taking as we move forward. Chesterfield County is truly fortunate to have 3 water supplies. The county declared emergency restrictions Sunday evening to conserve drinking water after 2 of our 3 water supplies networks were disrupted because of the heavy flooding on Saturday. There's 2 main points I would like to get across to our customers today. The first one is conservation. We're asking all customers to conserve water by limiting water use for essential purposes only. As irrigation is about doubles our demand in the summer months, we're asking all customers to shut off irrigation systems immediately. The second point I'd like to get across is that the water is safe. Although we're moving into conservation measures, the water distribution system was never compromised and the water is safe. To give you a little background on our water distribution system, we are very fortunate to have those 3 water supplies. We're also unique in that our water distribution system is interconnected, which allows us some flexibility on moving water from our sources to different parts of the county. The first source I want to talk about is our Appomattox River Water Authority. That's by far our largest source. There are no issues with that water source, and that source typically supplies about 55% of the county's water. The next supply is our Addison Emmons Water Treatment Plant on the Swift Creek Reservoir. That supplies the county with about 20% of its water supply. Lastly, the City of Richmond has 2 points of connection to Chesterfield County, Jank Road and Hopkins Road. Jank Road is the larger of the 2 connections from the city, and that point of entry is 21 million gallons per day, and Hopkins Road is 6 million gallons a day. When we had high water levels on Saturday, we proactively took the Addison Emmons Water Treatment Plant offline, and we seamlessly transitioned all our customers to the other 2 water supplies. There was absolutely no disruption in water service and no disruption in the high quality water we provide to our customers. The Addison Emmons Water Plant experienced extreme flooding, very extreme flooding. We have not seen flooding at this facility this significant since it was constructed. Our engineers are currently on site assessing the damage to that facility and are determining what work needs to be done to bring that facility back online. The City of Richmond Jank Road Pump Station went offline due to flooding last night. We made the difficult decision to announce emergency water restrictions for the county to conserve our water supplies until we can get the city's Jank Road Pump Station back in service. We have been in constant contact with the City of Richmond, and they are currently assessing the damage to the Jank Road Pump Station that feeds Chesterfield County. While the city was assessing the damage to the pump station, Chesterfield County utility crews worked side by side with the City of Richmond utility crews and opened up additional feeds of water from the City of Richmond into Chesterfield County throughout the night. I think they finished up at 2 in the morning last night. The City of Richmond is working on the damage assessment as we speak. Preliminary reports, I got a report right before I walked into this room, and it indicates a very positive report. The time frame that we'd be looking at to get that pump station back online would be measured in days, not weeks or months, days. So very, very positive news from the City of Richmond. Also, we are monitoring the weather forecast because more rain is anticipated this week. The good news is that the 2 dams that the utility departments oversee, the Falling Creek Dam and the Swift Creek Dam, have gone back to normal flows. Before I came in, I checked the level of those facilities, and the Falling Creek Dam currently has 6 inches of overflow, and the Swift Creek Dam has about 7 inches of overflow, which is normal flow over those dams. So they have receded and they've got back to normal levels. We're keeping an eye on our water system and also continuing to coordinate with the City of Richmond and Powhatan County. That Jank Road Pump Station also feeds portions of Powhatan County, and I've been in constant contact with their Director of Utilities. As far as advice to our customers, we cannot stress enough the need for all our customers to conserve water and turn off their irrigation systems. Despite the need to conserve water, I want to get the message out that our system was not compromised and our water is safe. I do want to take this time to thank our customers. We immediately, after making the announcement of the emergency water restrictions, we did see a decrease in demand on our system, which greatly assisted us, and we asked them to continue to reduce their water consumption so that we can get that Jank Road Pump Station online. I also want to thank the City of Richmond. I'm working director with their Director of Utilities, and he's been exceptional. He was on the phone with me a lot of the portion last night, and our crews worked together hand in hand to make sure that we got water supply to Chesterfield County customers. With that, would like to introduce Chief Center. Chief Center and I also have been working together because, as you know, water distribution systems not only supply potable water to our customers, but also provides fire protection. With that, I'll introduce Chief.
Good afternoon. As Mr. Hayes mentioned, he and I were in constant contact over the weekend, and the Fire and EMS Department worked collaboratively with the Utilities Department as we encountered some of the most serious flooding that we've had here in Chesterfield in recent memory, and probably it's a historical proportion. We have again collaborated throughout the weekend. This morning we received a briefing from the utilities engineers about some of the challenges that they were encountering with the water supply system. And as Mr. Hayes mentioned, it not only provides drinking water, but also provides the water for fire protection in the county. At the same time, we were able to provide the engineers with some different scenarios of fire flow requirements that we might need in the northern parts of the county should a fire occur. And they are performing some modeling now to give us a better idea of how the system may perform should we have a fire. In the meantime, we've put in place some contingency plans. We have taken 2 of our water tankers. These are large trucks that carry 2,500 gallons of water each. They're used for providing water supply in the rural areas of the county where there are no fire hydrants. We've upstaffed those with 2 firefighters each, and we've moved one to the Bon Air Fire Station, and the other one will be at the Swift Creek Fire Station on Genito Road. At the time of an alarm or reported structure fire, those units will roll along with the other fire engines that are normally dispatched to a structure fire. So just keep in mind that every fire engine in the county carries approximately 700 gallons of water, and they're each equipped with a fire pump that will flow, once it's hooked up to a fire hydrant, approximately 1,500 gallons a minute. So we'll be operating as we normally would. We will hook up to a fire hydrant, and we will just have that additional 5,000 gallons of water on the scene should we need it if we lose water pressure or water pressure drops. We don't anticipate any problems, but it's easier to plan ahead than it is to react to a problem should it occur. As we look in the days to come, we'll continue to work with public utilities and adjusting our contingency plans. We do have great relationships with our mutual aid partners all around us, whether it be Powhatan County, whether it be the city of Richmond, Henrico County. They all also have water tankers, and we've put them on notice that we may need to call for their assistance as well. And we stand ready to assist our colleagues to the west in Powhatan, because they do receive water through the county from Richmond as well. So my message is just to reaffirm what's already been said. Please conserve water during these times. Shut off those irrigation systems. If everybody does that, we will be less likely to encounter a problem should a fire occur in the county. That's all I have for today. I'll turn it back over to Mrs. Haley for questions.
Thank you, folks. At this point, we'll take any questions that anybody may have. Yes.
Ms. Haley, Bill Atkinson, Progress Index in Petersburg. Is there a preliminary estimate as far as dollars as to how much the flood has cost the county?
At this point, the question is whether or not there's a preliminary estimate at this point as to how much this has cost the county. I mean, I can actually say I think we're probably way ahead of the curve there before we have any ability to really estimate what the costs are associated between what you're hearing in what our emergency services folks have done, what we've done regarding services to folks we've had to evacuate, as well as what the possible costs are to just the water system alone. I hear my folks shaking their head to agree with me that I think it's way too early for us to know that. Yes?
This may be a question for Mr. Hayes. This is specific to the specific damage done at the 2 water facilities. You had mentioned extreme flooding at the Addison facility. What specifically was damaged on site, as well as the Jenkrone pump station as well?
So I'm going to ask Mr. Hayes to address these questions. This question looking for some more specifics as to exactly what the damages were, both at the Addison Evans and at the Jenkrone facility.
Thank you, Ms. Haley. So the question is, what was the damage at the Addison Evans facility, the specific damage, and also the Jank Road facility? So we had severe flooding at the Addison Evans facility. All the pumps for that facility are in the basement of the facility. The basement is 14 feet high. The basement was full of water. In addition to the basement filling with water, there was 4 feet of water in the first floor of that building, and the building is actually elevated. The high water mark on the outside of the building was 11 feet. So pretty much everything in that facility on those floors was lost. As far as the Jank Road pump station, that station did fill with water in the basement. It's my understanding they have 6 pumps at that facility. 3 of the pumps were fully submerged at that facility. The other 3 pumps were partially submerged, and they're still doing an assessment on what it's going to have to take to bring that facility back into service.
Is there an estimated timeline when these facilities will return to service?
So the question is there estimated time frame when these facilities will return in service? The key one for us right now is the Jank Road pump station with the City of Richmond, and that timeline, I don't have an exact timeline, they're still doing the assessment, but we anticipate the measure will be in days, not weeks or months. When the city gets the Jank Road pump station back online, we'll be able to lift the emergency order on water conservation. So again, we're hoping this is days, not weeks or months. As far as the Addison Evans facility, that's going to take a significant amount of time to get it back online, and that measure may be in months.
If customers do not serve, how sustainable is just using the one facility? How long that supply lasts?
So the question was about water demands and if the customers don't conserve, how long those supplies can last. And so right now it all depends on how much water is being used. And one of the reasons that we're really focused on irrigation is irrigation use, outside water use, can actually double our water demands in the summer. If we were able to eliminate irrigation use, we're not going to have an issue meeting demands. If irrigation is not used, if irrigation starts getting warmer and people start using irrigation more, we will not have enough supply in the system. So it's really important for our customers to go out there and turn off their irrigation systems. I think most people right now, after the rains we have, are not irrigating, but the challenge they have is sometimes those systems are set to automatically turn on. So we're just reminding our customers to be conscious about that and physically turn off those irrigation systems so that they can drastically reduce the demand on the system as we get through this. And again, we're talking probably days, not weeks, so we think that's a reasonable request of our customers. And I would like to say that it's very rare for us to go into any kind of emergency or mandatory restrictions, but when we do and we explain to our customers why we're doing it, they have responded to us. So I'm confident in our customers responding to us, and we appreciate their support. Thank you.
Mr. Hayes? Sorry. Bill Anderson with the project is, you said that the Lake Cheston did very well, make through the flooding very well. Was there ever any concerns at all that to the residents along that particular stretch of the river and the Cheston that the water would overflow?
So the question was basically about Lake Cheston. We talked a lot about the Falling Creek and the Swift Creek Reservoir, and the question was about Lake Cheston and how did that fare through the storm, and was there a concern for downstream residents on that dam? Each impoundment has different triggers on when you go into evacuation based on engineering analysis of that facility. I believe that, and I might not get the exact number, but we were talking an overflow at that facility being about 18.5 inches. And I need to check with them on what the evacuation trigger is, but I'm aware of that facility having 5 foot of overflow and it not triggering any kind of evacuation requirements in their action plan. So know that, interesting thing about rain is I was speaking to somebody that said, we had that 9.8 inches of rain in portions of Chesterfield County, and not too far off, you had 3 inches of rain. So it all depends on where the rain falls and what drainage basin it's in on how the facilities are impacted. But Lake Cheston fared extremely well.
This might be a little redundant. I just want to make sure that I have it clear. So if you are a customer of the Addison station or the Richmond station, and you turn on your water, can you explain just how exactly it's working now, so how that works?
Sure. So our goal as water suppliers are for the customers to turn on the tap and water come out and they not see any difference. And right now we've been able to accomplish that, and service has not declined. The system has not been compromised. And I apologize, I didn't repeat the question, and I know I have to do that so that the people that are reviewing this can understand the question. But the question was, how does the system work? We have 3 different sources. How does the water get to those sources? And so the way the Chesterfield County system works is that we have 3 different sources that go into a transmission system that are interconnected. And so we have tanks, pump stations where we have automatic controls that we can open up and shut and bring water into different pressure zones. I think we have approximately 31 different pressure zones throughout the county, very complicated system. We do hire the best of the best to operate our system so that when we have situations like this, the customers don't see any impact. And that's what makes me so proud of our employees is, you know, when we're not in the news and when our customers turn on the tap and the water comes out and they have reliable water service, we're doing our job. But our employees behind the scenes are working hard to make sure that there's no disruption of service and our customers don't have any kind of pressure fluctuations and things like this. And we have been successful throughout the night on making that happen.
One more, maybe a quick stat thing.
Sure.
So you mentioned that Falling Creek and Swift Creek are now back to kind of normal overflow of 6 and 7 inches at the dams. Was there a certain high point for each of those, and do you have those numbers? I mean, was there, just to get a scope of how much water was coming through?
So the question was wanting to know statistics on flows on the Falling Creek Reservoir and the Swift Creek Reservoir, and what was the highest elevation. Falling Creek, we constantly monitor that facility. We actually have cameras where we can check elevations. We also have computer systems that tell us. For the Falling Creek Dam, right now, for example, when it's normal flow, we're seeing 6 inches go over the spillway. When we see 4.5 feet go over the spillway, that triggers stage 3 in our activation plan, which requires us to activate the citizens downstream within the inundation zone. And these are pre-planned, action plans that we vet with DCR, who permits us with that facility. And so when we hit that 4.5 feet, we started initiating the evacuation downstream. It actually got almost a foot more than that. So it was actually coming over the sidewalls of the dam during that time, and that's what triggered the evacuation. For the Swift Creek Reservoir, approximately that reservoir saw about 3.5 feet come over that spillway. So it was significant. And again, the 3.5 feet over the spillway translated into a water line, a high water line on our building of 11 feet of water. The building was submerged.
It was mentioned that preliminary damage assessments, monetarily speaking, that's a ways away. But from a bird's eye view, is the county considering putting a request forth to the governor to ask FEMA for federal help or a disaster declaration? Is that conversation already being discussed?
Ms. Haley, I'll take that question and then also turn it over to Lloyd. But we've already started those conversations on the steps that we would need to do. We have to look at the preliminary damage to our facilities first and kind of get that number to see where the conversation leads us after that. And I apologize. The question was, are we looking at any kind of grants from the federal or state governments regarding this damage? And the answer is we are, and the first step is to try to assess what the damage is, and we're in that first phase right now. And I think Chief has something to say.
This event was unique in that it was very localized. I believe we were the only locality in Virginia to declare an emergency at that time. This weather front just parked here and dumped a large amount of rain over the county. However, we are in conversations with the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. We're updating them on the different challenges that we're having, and we will be exploring all options. I don't know where that's going to go and what level decision will be made at that point by the governor. I doubt that there'll be any request for a federal disaster declaration because it is so localized, but again, we're going to explore all options and grants and anything that we can to get the damage repaired.
And with that, I just want to thank you all. Thank you for coming out. And I want to say, this is really true indication of how fabulous, why we're carrying a AAA Utilities Department rating. Our folks have been working around the clock, and we just ask for our citizens' compliance, as they have always been great. And we will keep you informed as things move forward. Thank you.